just the cider talking.
Do you remember when we were both young boys, James, us running through apple tree orchards where we both lived in Kent, tasting the apples made cider in the town pub? Do you remember that hot summer night when your friend Mark fell over us as we sat on that sofa, his body spread over our laps, my hands threw themselves up in the air, that momentary jolt, then both pairs landed on his then 20-something body. It felt as soft as any fruit. The first time I felt soft male buttocks. Do you remember telling me that it was just the cider talking? But for me, it was more than that. It was an awakening. I did not need cider when I had you in my sights, as we spent days picking apples in the same orchards where we grew up together. We were the mirror of those apple pickers in John Minton's lithograph, Apple Orchard, Kent, 1951. I remember still so vividly picking apples whilst my eyes slowly picked up upon, gradually over time, how beautiful you are, the apple of my eye.
Not just the cider talking.
My
just the
affection
cider
for you
talking.
grew over the next decade as we carried on the legacy of both our family trees and the generations before us. Do you remember my grandmother Joan Campbell, née Deacon, speaking affectionately of picking apples by the crate as a child? Endless summers with her sister Joyce spent hop and apple picking, and then for her brother Tom, who later inherited the Deacon family apple farm. Do you remember my great uncle Tom's farm out in the sticks, sunk by apple trees? Don't wait to get older to live out your dreams, she said, as she looked over my shoulder at me drawing what was in front of me, mixed with thoughts I could see in my head. Joan, now gone, her son, my dad, keeps family traditions alive. Like Joan, an apple mid-morning and another around 5. Joan taught me to be happy in life and strive to fulfil my dreams. Stand tall and strong when the apple orchard sours. No truer words were ever spoken to me when, do you remember that day you told me you were moving away from our village to live in the city and marry your childhood sweetheart Lucy? For me, it was more than that. An ending marks a beginning, the end of any hope I lived in that one day you would return my gaze and kiss me in that orchard and let all that beauty out, preferably with me pressed up against that mighty apple tree with a swing. But the beginning of my new queer life, as I left the key to my flat in the middle of our village, through its letterbox, as I made my way to the station carrying my suitcase for the next fast train to London.
Not just the cider talking.
In so many rural places gay men live in fear. Their lives embody the lines of Bronski Beat's Small Town Boy. So they pack their suitcases and migrate to cities to be outwardly queer, reinventing themselves with gay abandon and joy.